Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to another Rive live stream. It's a little bit different today. It's just me. It's the evening stream. It's the chill stream. I meant to grab a water. That's okay. I don't have one, but I do got the tunes rolling. And yeah, I'm just going to be working a little bit tonight on creating a custom mouse cursor. And I'm going to start by using a remixed file. And then we're going to get real meta with it. We're going to remix the remix file and create something new from that. So we'll see what we can get through. It's scheduled for about an hour. But if we're getting good questions in the chat and, I feel like finishing it up, we'll just go all the way through. So as you can see, I'm already on the, actually, before we start, just a couple things to remind everybody of. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them in the chat, and it might take me a minute to get to them since it's just me tonight. I have this very fancy little ticker at the bottom to remind everyone. It's also going to be up later on YouTube, and I'll probably cut it up into more digestible bits so you don't have to watch the whole thing at once. So let me get organized here. Let me get this over here. Okay. Wow, I'm so dark. I need to get better lights. All right, so let's get started. So, like I said, we're gonna build a custom mouse cursor using a remixed file, and we just released remixing. If you've been following like Twitter and obviously YouTube, if you're here, you've been following YouTube. And so you know that we released this. So this is actually pretty cool. We can take a file like this hand gesture pack and create a remix of it. Now, this was done by Dante. We're going to remix this again because the way that I got this idea was one of our engineers, hey, Jill, reached out and asked for someone to help them build a custom mouse cursor. So I've already gone through this process. So we'll go through the quick remix, and I'll show you how to build the mouse cursor, and then we'll do something off of that. So first of all, we don't need this main artboard anymore. The reason for that is that was a lot of nested artboards, and all of the animations that we're going to actually be using are here in the file. So you see we've got idle, double tap, tap. We have lots of different interactions already built here. So we don't actually need to do too much work. The first thing that we're going to do, though, is get rid of this background since we're making a mouse cursor. And I'm going to go ahead and just do some design mode updates. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to change the fills of everything that we have here. So we've got a bunch of strokes here. Let's change the strokes. I'm going to go with a white stroke. And I think that's it as far as design updates. And so from here, what we could do is work on actually building out the mouse cursor interactions. So if we think about all of the things that a mouse cursor needs, like this normal mouse cursor that you see on my screen, it's always in this like idle state. It doesn't do anything else but that. So we need an idle animation, which we have. We're going to need a hover animation. So for when the mouse cursor is actually hovering over something, we'll need a click animation. And that's the basic interaction that we need. Those are the things that we're going to need. So let's go ahead and get a state machine in here, and we can go ahead and add the stuff that we already have. So we already have the idle, and that's going to be our default animation. And let me go ahead and do, I think we need a Boolean. We'll call it is idle. We can just, we don't actually need to set that right now. We'll probably use it. Probably use it in a minute. Trying to think of how we want to do this. Let's just keep building it. So the next thing I'm going to do is do the tap animation. We already have the tap animation, so that's like our click animation. And we don't need it on loop. We just need it to play one shot. And then we can put that on the state machine. Okay, so we've got our idle animation and our tap animation. But we don't want to do it like this because it'll just go straight to the tap animation. So we're going to need another input, and I'm going to use a trigger because like clicking, it's instantaneous. It happens fairly quickly. So we can use a trigger for that. So I'm going to set that to trigger 2, and then I'm going to rename that trigger and call it click. Nice trigger name. Good. All right. And then when we're done with tapping, we can go back to idle. And we'll say, actually, we don't even need a condition for that. We'll just make it happen. So we'll make sure that works. Nope. All right. So the reason that it's not working is we actually need to have an exit time. So we want this click animation to play some portion of it before we actually go back to idle. So I can enable the exit time, and we'll say 100% of the animation, and then we'll go back to idle. Okay. So, all right. Now, we need to make some changes to actually get this to work because the tap animation is a little too long. It's a second and a half, and we only need it to play, what, 32 milliseconds. So let's do that. Sweet. Now let's check this out. This should already update it in the state machine. All right, so we click and boom, go back. Now, one thing that I don't like is that after we play the click animation, it just snaps back to this idle position. So I'm going to use some duration to sort of ease between those two animations. So let's just start off with like 200 milliseconds and see how that looks. Maybe a little too slow. So let's go with 150. Still too slow. 100. Still too slow. Or yeah, so let's go with maybe 25 milliseconds. All right, we're getting there. Let's do it like this. 75 maybe. All right, that's pretty good. I'm going to actually add a little bit of time to the end of this tap animation because I think it goes too quickly between the two. So I'm going to add like 8 milliseconds of just dead time there, and then we'll see what happens here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, another thing that we want to do is add in a hover animation. So we don't actually have a hover animation in here. So we need to build one. So let's make a new animation. And honestly, a lot of these animations, like I can leave a lot of this stuff in here. But you can also remove it too. It doesn't really matter. So we need a hover. So we're going to do that, and we're going to leave it as a and I'm going to rename this instead of tap, click. All right, hover. So really what I'm thinking for this hover animation is instead of going from, so snapping from this open hand to the clicker finger and then going back, I'm thinking we go from idle to that hover state here, and that hover state is just the hand with the finger, camera's over here, with the finger out like that. So I just need to find that pose, not that one. Click. Yep. All right. So I'm going to take the first keys from all of this, since it seems like that's the majority of it. We also need this. Okay, we do have that one. All right. So we can take those, copy those, paste them into the hover. So now we've got our hover state. And I'm just going to drag this hover state in here. Make sure we can go from idle to hover and from hover to clicked. And then we want to be able to go back to hovered and back to idle. Okay. And now we got to set up our inputs. So the is idle hover or is idle Boolean is going to come into play now. So we also need an is hover Boolean. Actually, we might be able to get away with, I don't think we actually need the is hovered or is idle right now. just do it with is hovering. Sounds right. All right, so we'll just do that. Is hovering. So when it's hovering from idle, we'll go to true, which will go here. And then if is hovering is false, we'll go back. So I don't actually think we're going to need this unless we want to set up a different interaction, which we'll do in the next mouse cursor. All right, so from hover, we want to be able to go to click. So we'll do the trigger can pull us from hover to click. And then yes is Morbin. It's not Morbin right now. Okay, so when we do click, it can go back if is hovering is true. And if is hovering is false, it'll go to idle. Okay, so let's test that out. Make sure everything works. Let's go to is hovering. I want to put some duration on that. So we're going to go with 75 since that's what we were using before. All right, I like that. And the cool thing is if I send this off and the engineer who asked for it is like, there's some things that, like some, like I want the states to switch back and forth instantaneously, then we can go in and change the duration and it's no big deal. Okay, so we can go back and forth between those, eases nicely between the two. Can we go from hover to click? We can, but it's not playing all of it. So we need to play all of it with the exit time. And then let's check it out. Okay, sweet. So this is basically everything that you need for a custom mouse cursor. This is done. Now we can add some more things to it. So two of the things that, well, actually it was one thing that was requested was the ability to go between a light and dark mode. So we can actually do that fairly easily with another layer. So this main layer here, I'm going to rename this and call this the, I don't know, the logic, the interactions. The layer names don't really matter. You're not going to actually need to call this in code or anything like that. So you can name it whatever you want. And I'm going to call this the color mode. So this is our color mode layer, and this is where we'll do all that. All right, so to enable the color mode, we need to build two animations. So we want a light mode and a dark mode. So we'll need two extra animations. There's the light mode, there's the dark mode. Let's rename these light mode and dark mode. So for these, all we have to do is key the colors that we want for each mode. So in this mode, we're going to key everything that's white. We're going to key it white. Get all these. That's all keyed white. And then I also, instead of having the little touch things that come out of here be blue, those are also going to be white. All right. So those are all keyed. And now we need to go into dark mode and key all of this. So we're going to go and key all this and make this black. Not those. We will make those black, but actually I'm going to leave those white, I think. These are all black. Okay. And then we'll leave these as white. Now, the reason that I need to key these strokes in here to white in both of these animations is because they're blue in design mode. Actually, you know what? Let's not be lazy. Let's just key it in design mode. So, or change it in design mode. So I've changed it in design mode. I can take those keys out. I don't actually need these. Light mode, dark mode. Okay, cool. So now let's actually set those up in the state machine. I'm going to get rid of this is idle Boolean because I don't actually need that. And we can do a Boolean. And we'll call this is dark. Okay. So we've got light mode, we've got dark mode. Now, unlike the other states or the other state machine layer here, instead of having our state machine only be able to enter one state, I want to make sure that our state machine can go to either or start in either light mode or dark mode. So we're going to connect both of those states to the entry state. And then we need to configure this. So is dark, if it's false, it'll go to light mode. And if it's true, it will go to dark mode. And then we got to be able to go back and forth. Okay, so we're basically setting up a variable start toggle. Okay, so is dark true? Is dark false? It can go back. All right, so let's check that out. Okay, it can go back and forth. Now let's check out these animations. Boop, boop. Let's go light mode. Boop, boop. All right, sweet. Custom mouse cursor is done. This is for custom applications, or can we use this in Windows too? That's actually a good question. So I was building this for someone who is doing something with one of the runtimes. Can't exactly tell you which one it is. Let me find out for you. Oh boy, hang on, I lost everyone. That's what happens when I start clicking around on stuff. All right, first things first, find you guys. Sweet. Okay. I believe you can add this wherever, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's find out. All right, so I need to reach out to an engineer, find out, and I will let you know when he gets back to me. I'm pretty sure you'd use this in like a custom app, but if you had like a Windows or Mac runtime, I'm sure you could get it working there too. But don't take my word for that yet. I'll let you know whenever I find out. Good question though. Okay, so this is the basic mouse cursor done, and I'm going to republish this back to the community. So we're going to call this custom mouse cursor. Let's see, we need a good description. If there were ever a mouse cursor to use, it would be this one. Okay, perfect. We'll share the state machine and boom, publish to the community. So now this is actually going to get published as a remix. Let's go to the community and we can go back to that file and you'll see that it's popped up on this file. Remixes, boom. So our custom mouse cursor is right there as a remix. So if you want to grab this, you can, and you can use it. Now, I'm going to get meta with it, and I'm going to use this remix to make another remix because I've just set up a custom mouse cursor template, essentially. And I'm going to use some new artwork that I prepared this morning to do this, something that's a little more interesting, a little more like in the style of Rive. So let's remix this again, start editing. And hey, we're back where we started. So for this, I'm going to leave all these animations for now, but we're going to go through and sort through those in a second. And this is the mouse cursor that I designed today and got rigged up. If you want to see the rigging process, I can go through that. I'm not sure what the interest in that tonight is. If you want to see it, let me know, and we can take some time to look at it. But I designed this so that we could do essentially the same thing, but just with a more like, I don't know, characterized mouse cursor. So I'm going to take this artboard and copy it. and then I'm going to paste it here into the remixed file. And yeah, let's get rid of all this artwork now. I don't want that anymore. And I'm going to take my character, copy it from the root, paste it into here, and I'm going to actually rename this artboard. I should have done that on the other one. That's my mistake. I'm going to call this hand face mouse cursor extravaganza. All right, so we've got that. Now what we can do is go into these animations, and all of the keys should be gone, which they are. So the cool thing is that like I don't need to add any new animations. I've got my idle, I've got my hover, I've got my clicked, and then I've got my light and dark mode. So really, I just need to go into these animations and make new animations. So I'm going to actually go through and just get rid of all these other animations that I don't need. Tap and hold, force touch, one touch, swipe left, swipe right. I think that's it. Now with this, what's cool is we can actually like add in some wacky stuff. During the conversation about the mouse cursor, you know, we were talking about, oh, it would be cool if like when you wiggle your mouse back and forth, the cursor would like puke or something, or like when your mouse has been sitting there for a while, it plays a certain animation. So hopefully, let's see. Yeah, we got plenty of time. So we might be able to get through all this. All right, let's just start knocking these out. So I'm going to start with the mode toggle first. So we're going to start with light mode, and I'm just going to go through and key all of my different shapes here. Make sure I get all the fills keyed. Okay. I think we're going to leave the mouth black. Maybe, I don't know. For right now, we'll key it. Don't need any of those. Those are all my controls. And honestly, this thing may be like overly rigged. I think the mouth is a little overly rigged, but we'll see when we go to animate it. Did I get everything? No way. I think I might have. Nope, the eyes. Here we go. Don't need that fill. Okay. Grab that. Bang. And I think I've got the mouth. Yeah. All right. Okay, so now let's go into dark mode, and let's pick a color scheme. So I think I'm just going to go with black on this one. So I'm going to change the outline to white. And then this, I don't want to do that. Like a dark purple. Yeah, it's more like a gray mode. But anybody get into gray mode? Go white with that. Yeah. No, I'll leave it dark. So actually that can just stay the same color. All right, we'll key that now. Key that. Yep. Oh wait, that was, yeah, there we go. Now we're super dark mode. Purple that up a little bit more. Okay. Double check, make sure all this stuff is. Now, the reason that I'm keying some of the stuff that I'm not changing the color of is I may want to change it. May want to change it later on. So instead of not keying it and then keying it later, I'm just going to key it now because it's honestly not going to hurt anything if it's just keyed at the moment. Okay, so we've got our mode done. Let's double check it and see what it looks like. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. You know, what does red look like? Because red's kind of a dark color. All right, we'll go with that for now. Oop. Make sure that key's over here. Okay. Mode toggles done. Idle. So for the idle animation, because the mouse is just going to be sitting there, and this is like for when you're actually moving the mouse around, all these controls, we're just going to grab them all and key them in place. So we're going to key all the mouth controls. Actually, no, I'm not going to touch the mouth controls. we're not going to touch that. All these controls, we're going to touch those. Boop. Okay. What other controls? We want to probably, I put a face control in here. I actually probably should have gone over the rig. So I've got a face control that controls like the position of the face. And then I've got these controls up here. So unlike the one that we were just using, which had bone chains, this is using individual bones because this is like a much more squishy character. So with these, I can grab and move these like individual, fingers, and, scale them and do all kinds of stuff. So this gives us, a flexible rig to mess with. We also have these eye controls. And the cool thing about actually rigging up the eyes like this, because this is just a rounded rectangle, is we can get the eyes into really interesting positions. Like, if the character is sleeping. Oh, did I not rig that? All right, quick rigging tutorial. Here we go. We're going to do it real fast. All right, so to rig up something like this, you obviously have to grab your path, and then it needs to be converted into a custom path. And now I need to bind the bones. So I'm just going to bind these two bones here. Take my top little vertices, weight those to the yellow bone, take these bottom ones, make sure it's weighted there. And now when I move this, it should work. And you can see that the rounded corners actually stay rounded, unlike if we were to use. So if we didn't do that, let me grab this. So if we have a rounded rectangle, right? If you use scale, you can see that the rounded corners actually get a little messed up. So using this is actually pretty good. If you don't convert it to a custom shape, you can use the height constraints, and it gives us the exact same thing. But we don't get as much, there's not as much like play with the animation. So that's why instead of using the height here, I'm actually using bones instead. Now, the last thing I need to do is clip this to that, and then we should be good. Okay, cool. All right, so now let me make sure that these are back in the right spot. I can't tell if he has lopsided eyes or not. They look unlopsided enough. All right, so let me turn my bones back on and make sure that I'm actually not going to key this. All right, so we're just going to use these to key this. All right. We don't need this double tap animation. Delete. All right, so we need a click animation. Actually, let's start with the hover animation. So for the hover animation, I'm going to do sort of what I did. Actually, the idle. I'm going to drag this down. I don't know what I'm thinking. There we go. So it's kind of making like a fist. All right, and then hover. This is where I'm going to key all these. Okay. So now when we go back and forth between click and hover, or hover and idle. Cool. And it's still using that same 75 millisecond easing I had set up, or not easing, but duration in between these animations from earlier. So that still looks nice. Okay, so now we need a click animation. So we need to start in the hover thing. Now, I didn't build these animations, so I may have to do a little bit of figuring. So 40 milliseconds is probably enough. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to set the scale for the body because I kind of want to play with the scale a little bit. And I'm actually, no, the hand main, that's what I need to use. All right, so let me get rid of these. All right, I'm going to key the hand main because this is where I can actually control the scale for everything. So for idle, it's going to be at 100%. For hover, going to get a little crazy and move this up to like 105%. What does that look like? Ooh, okay, cool. All right, so now for click, we need that key. Put it over here. All right, so let's do something like this. Squash it down. Maybe do like 90%. We're gonna get that crazy. Bam, and then it needs to come back up and kind of bounce. So we'll go to like 102, and then go to 100. We'll see how that works. All right, so main motion first, and then we'll get the fingers animating. All right, might need a little more time. So let's go with try just under a second here. Okay, might be a little bit better. Oh, I think where I had before was better. Okay. Okay. So we've got that. Now I need to get the, can probably do something with these, like the thumb can maybe like go in. This might need to deal with this. This isn't actually working too well. You can see how the shadow here is kind of coming unstuck. So what I'm going to do, let's see. Yeah, we can fix this. Maybe what I can do is instead of having this be 100%, there we go. Be just a little less influence there. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Too much influence. What did I use on this side? 68. All right. 68. And then no. All right. I think that's good on both sides now. All right, sweet. All right, here we go. So we can bring that in. All right. And then we only have the position keyed here. So I need to scale the key or key the scale for my pointer finger. Before I go making any changes to this animation, I'm going to make sure that I go through my other animations to key the scale for this so that I don't have any problems with it later on. All right, so now when it goes down, we're going to boop, scale it in. Match that easing. Okay, doing that. And then we need to go back to the original position. So thumb, pointer, here. All right, and we can adjust some other stuff. Now, I don't have any effects right now, but I think I'm going to add like the click, and then it does like the, I keep forgetting. So I got to be honest. A lot of the times I use my webcam on my MacBook, and so it's over here and you guys are up here, and I always forget that. So anyways, the little boop, I'm going to add that in on a different layer of the state machine. So we're going to use this for right now. And I think we can actually add in some like eye animations here. Now, the reason I didn't key the eye on idle and hover is because I want to do another layer that deals with the eyes, but I think I can add in some stuff here. Like maybe we can get crazy and like, I don't know, scale the whole face down or something. No, I'm just going to make the eyes close a little bit. Like this. Oh, actually, I need to remove those. All right, key it first. And then we'll do the eyes down. If I need some more in a minute, we'll do that. All right, so eyes close. All right, maybe key that. Okay. And then we'll go back to here eventually. I want to actually go, I want this pose for the eyes to be a little bit wider before it goes back to the normal position. So we'll stretch it a little bit. And then probably don't need that same easing. All right. Now I think we need to change up some easing on these keys. I don't think they need to go so fast. The next one. Okay, that looks all right. And honestly, so wide, let's go a little bit smaller here. There. So this goes back. So this is, where are we at? Small, wide. We'll go a little bit smaller than 4. Just a little bit. Just to make it a little more springy. There we go. All right. Eesh, that might be a little too much. Not sure that I'm loving that. All right. Let's have a little more space to make these keys, spread these keys out a little bit more. Boop. Boop. That's okay. Hey, JC. What do you think about my goofy pointer face character? And actually, I want to bring these. Hey, Zach. I'm going to bring these knuckles down just a little bit. All right, so that's making his hand a little bit fatter. So we're going to actually do that, do that. And then I need to bring that back to 100. Okay. Yep. Okay, and then we need to go back to normal here. But I need to match this like so. This. Okay, so let's see what the click looks like now. Honestly, I could probably add some more springiness in the fingers since the eyes are so springy, but I think it's okay. All right. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna add the effects later. I think we're good on all of our animations. So let's check this thing out. All right, so let's check out what dark mode looks like. All right, hover. Honestly, we could add another animation between idle and hover if we wanted to get, you know, fancy with it. We might. I'll see how much time we got left here in a second. Okay, so it's not actually, we do have a, what are we doing? We're not returning back to the hover, which is not good. I take this and make sure that everything is returning there. Hover, no, click. Okay. Now, what is changing between? Oh, I know what it is. Where's my hand main? Are you at 100%? You are. Okay, so it's not the hand main. I wonder what it is. Oh, hover. Here we go. 105. That's right. That's actually kind of interesting. So we're ending at 100 on the click animation. So we may actually just have to have some easing. Let's put that 75 millisecond easing here. Okay, so that works. Now is hovering, click. Oh, that's another problem. Let's fix that real quick. So I need this. Click animation. That's because it goes here, and then we got to bring it back to its normal spot. Okay. Now, we may not actually be able to do the hover since, I mean, we can. It just kind of looks goofy. It's like we need a click. Okay, I know how to fix this. It's just going to add a slight bit of complexity, but what we're going to do is we're going to add in another animation. So these two are going to work fine together. Idle to click and then click back to idle, but these two aren't necessarily playing nice. So what we need is a click from idle and duplicate this and then click from hover. That's how we're going to fix this. Boom. Okay, so now we can go from here, and that scale, the hand main, can be at the idle scale, which is 105. Boom. And that should fix our issues. So let me remove these. Click from hover. So we can go there and back. All right. But we're going to need, no, we don't need another one. Click. Is hovering false? No, true. What do you mean? And then if it's not true, they can go to idle. And then we could add another animation in between this if we wanted to. Is hovering false? I think that'll work. Let's test that. All right, so is hovering. Oh, we need to add that exit time. 100%. And then we also need an exit time here. 100%. And then click. Okay, so it's just scaling weird in the click animation now. Click from hover. Oh, you know what? That's why. 5. So actually, we need to do like 107 to 105. So we still get that same springiness. Perfect. Okay. So we can go to click from hover, or to idle clicked, And then from hover to hover clicked. It's still snapping a little bit. So I need to double check my scales again here. And I'm just going to take this value and stick it on the hover value. There was a slight difference. I saw it move. I saw it move. Boom. Okay, sweet. All right, so that's done. Now we can add in, because I think we still have some time. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left. We can add in some new animations. Actually, we can just make this little cursor a little more interesting. So we're going to call this the eye layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a blinking animation, which is going to be the idle animation. And let's do that. Let's make a blinking animation. So I'm going to give myself like 10 seconds to work with here. And I'm just going to make a blink for these. I like doing this because it keeps it like putting all the eyes and stuff on different layers and like the effects on different layers, because it's easier to sort of build out this complete thing when everything's a little bit more modular. And we can also diagnose problems a little bit easier. So we're going to go like this, real skinny. I'm going to use the snapping to help line that up. Okay, and then we'll let it sit there for a second and then open. All right, let's see what that looks like. I even added a little bit of it's not happening quite fast enough. Let's try and fix it with easing first. Scoot this back just a little bit. A little bit more pause. Okay, sweet. So I like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, actually I need to make sure this animation is set to loop. And I'm going to take this little blinking thing that I made and paste it. We'll have the second one go off after 3 seconds, and then we'll have one go off after 4 seconds, and then we'll have one go off after, I think that's another 4 seconds. All right, so we can add that here, blinking. All right, so we can watch that play for a second. So now our character actually looks like it's, idling whenever it's when it's just sitting here, which is a little bit more interesting than just, sitting there with the eyes open. Now what I want to do is I want to add in an animation that is like the character, like when let's say we walk away from our computer for like 5 minutes or something. And it would be cool if the little mouse cursor would like actually fall asleep and start snoring. So let's make that animation. And I'm going to actually, I think I'm going to put that on the same, I think I'm going to put that on this layer, on this eye layer. I don't think I wonder if we need to put it on. No, we'll do it. We'll do it modular again. So we're going to go with like, no, we're not. All right. Just stay with me while I think for a second. I think what we need is a sleeping eye animation. Sleeping eyes. And we need a, no. We're just going to do eyes off animation. And what we're going to do is have a state that we can go to in the state machine. So let me just show you what this is going to do. We're going to have a state in the state machine where we have our eyes are blinking, but then when we go to idle, it's going to go to a state that doesn't have any keys in it so that we can control the eyes from a different animation. So we're going to make a sleeping animation. Sleeping. No. We're just going to call this. No, we'll call it. Yeah, we'll call it. Yeah, we're going to call it sleeping. All right. And it's going to be a looping animation. This animation is also going to be, we don't need that one. Eyes off. Okay. So now we're going to go to the state machine. I'm going to go ahead and add in that that is idle animation. And essentially, this is something that our engineer, or if you know code, you could hook it up. After like X amount of time, this Boolean would go true, and it'll toggle on our true idle animation where we've been idling for a long time. So we're going to go to the sleeping animation, and let's go with, I like this pose. And so I think with this, we need to animate the mouth. So we do need to go to, so before I animate anything else, I'm going to actually go here. I'm going to animate the mouth position. So the X and Y position, and then all the controls that I built for the mouth. And by the way, once I'm done with this, I'll throw it up on the community in case you want to use it or remix it or whatever you want to do with it. I'm also going to animate this, or key the scale. I should probably just go ahead and key the scale of this. Yeah. So using that blank animation state, it should cut all the keys off. Like essentially, when we're in blinking mode, all of the keys, the only keys that are going to be looked at for the eyes is this animation. Even if I have it animated on these other states, and that's because the priority list is from right to left. So the eye keys are over here. So it's only going to ever be blinking. But if we want to do something else, we can just have a blank state that has no keys set. And then we should be able to, animate everything on a different layer. We'll try it out. If that doesn't work, I've had to do stuff like this before, so I should be able to figure it out. But I'm pretty sure that that's going to work. If it doesn't, well, I was wrong, and we'll figure it out. Okay. Idle, we're good. Everything's set. I'm going to take all these keys that I just set for that, paste them in here. Okay. So now let's get crazy with it. So I'm going to make my initial motion first, not that control. Man, I wish I had a scale thing down here. Okay, I don't have that, so I'm not going to mess with it. We're just going to scale it. Okay, so we're going to go down. Wait, when you snore, you kind of go up and then down. Okay, so we're going to make a long up. And we're going to make them fatter, like as a balloon blowing up. And go up. Scale up. Scale up. Scale. Oop, I didn't set the initial scale. That's okay. It's a long way. Taking the scenic route, Probably could have just selected them all and done that. All right, so here. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And now let's set our eyes. Let's get our eyes all closed, nice and sleepy like. Ooh, so sleepy. Okay. So now I should probably, did I key this? I didn't. Okay. I'm going to key this real quick. The face control that I made. And then we're going to go back to that sleeping animation. And so again, we're going to go up. Oh, yeah. It's kind of goofy. Okay. Damn, I meant to, hang on. Key the initial position first. And then we're going to go up. All right. Okay, it actually can't go all the way up there. So we'll just go right to there. All right. And then back down. I need all these. And we'll go back down. All right, so we need way more space for this animation. Let's go with like 3 seconds. Maybe that'll be enough. And we'll see what that looks like. Ooh. Hang on. I moved a bunch of keys. Get a better look at this thing. Okay. So we did it like that, and then we did it like that. Okay. There we go. That's like the initial, it's like the initial movement. So now we can add some easing. So we want this to actually be kind of slow. So we're going to keep it sort of linear. And then I kind of want this one to be a little bit. There we go. All right. And one thing we could do is put in some like, because you know when you snore, you kind of and like your face will kind of wiggle around a little bit. So maybe we can do that. But I'm trying to think of where I should start with that. Let's go with the mouth first. I think that's going to be a good indication of like, okay, so when you breathe in, your mouth gets wider. All right, so let's do that. Let's go with, let's start here. And all right, we've got all our initial position set. So now let's make a big, wide, open, snoring mouth. I'm going to try and mess with the scale here. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Okay. All right, so let's actually get it there. When does it start going down? It's like, I think it's like right about here is where it's, okay. So we want to make it like kind of get, let's see. Maybe we can, I'm just going to try a couple things. So we're going to do it like this first. Actually, let's switch these keys around. Because I kind of want it to go to its widest point first. So, oh, darn it. I didn't save the scales. Let's see. I know I've got scales in here somewhere. There we go. Scale. I want to keep that over there. Okay, that's good. Just copy that. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. We're just going to go wider here. I've already got the scales set on some of these. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, and we can work this like a bottom lip. All right, sweet. So we're going to go down. And just kind of jiggle it. All right. And we'll just give ourselves a reference point back here. All right, so these need to stay the same for a minute. That actually kind of looks ugly. It may actually need to be faster for it to look better. Let's try that for now. Okay. Oh, the scale's going down. Don't do that. Stay big. Stay scaled up. Okay. Scale. I think the scale's doing the same thing here. It is. Okay. Bump these down a little bit. Let's try it at 5 seconds, or 5 milliseconds rather, just to see. Just play with this for a minute, and if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to go wide, and then we'll do like the... Yeah, I don't like it here. Okay, we're going to do the... We're going to do it when it gets to here. We're going to make it actually come down a lot more. No. Okay, perfect. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so then what we're going to do is do it like this. There. And we're going to do every... Yeah, we're going to try every 5 milliseconds again. Here. Like this. There we go. Like this. Make it wiggle. All right, copy that, paste that loop a couple times. All right, we might even need to give it a little bit of a break on the end. I'm going to get rid of these bones for a second. Okay, for the most part, I actually like this. The one thing that I don't like is this pose here. I'm not super happy with this. Let me add a little bit of scale to this. Oh, no, not position. Scale. There we go. It just needs a little bit of extra scale, I think. God, I'm sorry. That actually kind of made me laugh. That was pretty funny. Okay. So we're going to take the scales here. I'm just going to call it 328, I think is what I saw. And we're going to keep 328. That looks fine. All right, double check it one more time. Honestly, this needs to move a little bit. Okay. I need to scoot that over just a little bit more. Just adjusting the timing on the overall scale of stuff here. Let me grab this. Actually apply this everywhere, and then we can just adjust that for the whole thing. Okay, I like that. Okay, so now we've got our is idle, or the sleeping animation done. Let's plug this dude in and make sure that it's going to work. So I want to say that sleeping, I was going to say it should be able to come from any state. But you probably can't get there from a click. But I guess it doesn't matter. I'm trying to think. Let's try it with the any state first and just see if that causes any problems, because it's going to save me a couple transitions and just keep the state machine a little bit cleaner. So I'm actually move this over here. Because I feel like you'd be able to hover on something for a long time and then walk away from your computer. Yeah, like I could leave my mouse there and it could go to sleep in that position. So, but it can't get there from, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't think it matters. All right, sleeping, any state, boom. And we're going to call that is idle. And if it's true, it's in sleeping. And if it's false, then it's either going to go back to hover. We got to find a good spot for this. I think it might have been in a better spot over here. Forgive me while I clean up my state machine for a second. It's going to look ugly for a minute. There we go. That's better. Okay. Just keep things nice and tidy, you know. All right. So if is hovering is true and is idle is false, then it'll go to hover. And if is idling is true, false, and is hovering is false, it'll go to idle. So let's check that, make sure it looks okay. First thing we want to do is make sure that we've got the blink. Oh, oops, I forgot to set this up. Okay, so I mentioned earlier the eyes off state. So what we got to do is make sure that we set this up. So when is idle is true, it goes to the eyes off state. And when is idle is false, it'll go back to blinking. So that's like when it's turned back on. So let's double check this. Okay, so we got a nice, oh man. All right, that's good. And then let's check is idle. And there we go. So that's working. Now let me show you what happens if we don't have that eyes off layer on. So just for the sake of this, I'm going to unhook this. And let's take a look at that. So now we're in our idle state, and then we're going to go to the sleeping state. You can see that our eyes are still blinking. So that's why we put that blank state in there. So boom, let's hook that back up. And then, ooh, I went over about 7 minutes. No big deal. Is idle true? Is idle false? Bang. Okay. One thing that I did want to add, which, we could, you know what I'll do? I'm going to post this to, I'm going to go ahead and call this finished, because what we have is we have our, we've got our light and dark mode. We've got our is hover or hovering animation. We've got our clicked animation. You know what? I can't call this done yet. I can't call this done. I have to put the effects layer on. So let's do that really quick. So I didn't actually make any effects for this character. So let's add some really quick. The other ones had these lines coming off of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make, it's going to be kind of like a inky splash thing. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make an inky splash. Or we're going to make like no, probably don't need to do it like that. Let's see. Yeah, like this. Something like that. All right, and we'll do that under here. Okay, so we're going to call this, I'm going to go ahead and make a group. We'll call this the effects group. just effects. All right. So it doesn't really matter. I'm going to make it white for right now. And then we're going to have like, I'm going to make some of these guys right here, just like this. Give myself a couple of these. All right. And so this thing is going to kind of splash out, and these little bloopies are going to bloop. It's a technical term if you didn't know. Okay, so we'll put those under the effects group, and then I'm going to give myself a control for each one of these. So I'm just making groups and then changing the group type to target. All right, so that gives us those. This, we need a group. And the main reason for this group is when you click, oops, I didn't get that one. There we go. I want this inky to out like that, and then this stuff to kind of splash out. Actually, we may or may not use these. Let's see what this looks like. I'm just gonna try and do something quick here, because I just, I can't leave it. I can't leave it without the effects. First thing I'm gonna do: light mode versus dark mode. I'm gonna key the white for light mode. Set this to. Should we do red or should we do black? Maybe we should do like dark red. Like that. No, I like the black. That's fine. Okay, so we've got that. And we can even get fancier with this if we want to add some lighting to it. Am I going to do that? Yep. Okay, back to design mode. So what we're going to do is actually, it's going to look crazy. It's going to be black. I'm going to take this, copy it. Did we get that? Let's see. Oh, okay. Scale this down a little bit. Use that as like an outline, like that. Okay, I like that. Okay, so light mode, we're going to have this interior be white. Key that. Exterior is going to be black. Okay, and then in dark mode, we're going to do black ink with a white rim light. Sweet. Okay, so now what we need is we need a ink idle and then an ink click. Boom. All right, so ink idle. Start here. We're going to take the, are these both? Oh, perfect. Oh, love it when a plan comes together. Okay. So we're going to scale that down to 0, actually. And I'm going to turn the opacity off. Just in case we go to a different state, like the idle state. I want to make sure that, and I'm going to call this the ink group. I should have renamed that. I just want to make sure it's hidden. Okay, so now ink clicked. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with these keys from ink idle. Start there. And then it really needs to be fast. So we'll see what we can get away with here. Let me link these really quick. And we actually need that to be 100%. Okay, boom. So probably like that. Okay. All right, and then we need to make the actually ink click. We're just going to make that opacity 100%, and then we're going to make the opacity go down. Opacity is going down too quick. And that's kind of going. All right, we're actually going to make this. Let's keep the opacity up for a little bit longer, and then we'll make it go down. Okay. That looks all right. Now let's try these inky blots and see what we can do with those. Okay, ink idle. Let's get all these here. Just gonna kind of stack them behind the finger. We're gonna do the same thing again. Select them all. Scale 0, opacity 0 on ink idle, and then ink click. Take those. Oop. Now let's make like a splash, like a little effect thing. All right, so these need to go to 100. And then, nope. What didn't I do? Opacity for all of these. There we go. Okay. So let's start with this one. We're going to go up, over, and we're going to say it's going to come down. All right. So now we're going to use easing to adjust that path because it's very linear. So it's kind of making a triangle. So the X is always going to be constant, actually. So we can get rid of the X key. And we'll start with, start adding some easing to that. Okay, that looks all right. I mean, it doesn't look all right, but we got to fix it some more. But it's getting there. Okay, so we want it to go kind of up quick and then down slow. All right, and because this is going to kind of be away from where we clicked, like the reason this has got to be so quick is because we're actually clicking there. And honestly, I'm not actually sure. Oh no, it's clicking in the same spot. It's fine. And that's tied to that. So everything's fine. And maybe this is going to be a failed experiment. We have to try something different. Okay. So 100, and we need to go down to 0 here. Opacity. Oh, all right. We're just going to go out in the different directions. Now, I probably could have done this with trim path, to be honest with you. Probably would have looked better. And then just made the trim paths. Actually, we're going to go here, 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 and here. Okay. And then all those need to go down to 0 opacity. Change the easing on that. Whoa, why is that one being... What's wrong with you, little guy? You seem like you're not having a good time. He's not, because he doesn't have the same easing. Okay, first of all, rude of me for not giving him the right easing. There we go. You know what? I'm thinking about getting rid of the ink splash. I think like it was an okay idea, but the problem is, I don't know. Let's look at it in the state machine, and then I'll decide. I just don't think it's going to work very well. May have to think about that. Okay, no. Ink idle first, not ink click. Okay, ink idle. Ink clicked. Okay, so we got to say click, and then it'll just go back whenever. All right. I don't know. It looks all right. And let's check the dark mode. All right, let's say we're hovered. Okay, it's not too bad. I might mess around with it a little bit more, but that's kind of how you add effect as a modular thing, and we'll call that the effect layer. Oops, and boom. Anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Been working on this for a while. I appreciate everybody coming out. Just a reminder, I'm gonna post this to the community so that you can see it. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now. Publish to the community. And we're going to go with, yeah, we're going to do the, publish to the community. Got to pick a good thumbnail. Sleeping, obviously. Maybe not. Just do idle. That's fine. State machine, custom mouse cursor face. There was a better mouse cursor. You couldn't find it anywhere else. Double exclam. Ooh, did I mess that up? Maybe that's one word. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right, publish to the community. So if you want to use it, you can. It's out there. And yeah, reminder, we've got another live stream tomorrow. So if you want to check that one out, it's going to be, it's another morning one. Anyways, I appreciate everybody again coming out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Boy.